Had a week off, got a lot of work in. Um, Guys are healthy. Today, if you come to practice, we'll be a skeleton crew because one of my coaches is sick, another one's out recruiting, so there'll only be two of us here. So I don't want anybody to get say that there's something wrong with the program and say they guys left and took other jobs or something. So we got guys sick and out recruiting. So all's good, all healthy. Guys have worked hard. They had Monday, Tuesday we did work. Wednesday we were off. Got a very good Utah State team coming in. I kind of feel for Tim because he kind of took over the same thing that I took over. It's just he lost his best player, and I was fortunate I was able to keep my team. So they're a good team. Jalen Moore is probably one of the top players in the league. Very good veteran backcourt with Perkins and Smith, who are really good players. They have Rector, who's a junior college kid that's from New York by Miami Junior College. So they're a solid team. They got Tulsa transfer and Lou Evans. So very dangerous team that we'll have to be ready for. So hopefully our guys will have 2 good days of practice to prepare, and we'll get ready to play.
Coach, how are they different without Kawhi?
Well, I just think he's the best center in the league if he was back. I think he's their best. I think he's their best low post player. I think he's a really good player. I thought, he takes them to a different level team. It's just a bad deal, but he was probably the best post player in the league.
As far as I know the new coach, he's been there before. He's
Mm-hmm.
consistent, just like yourself. How tough of a transition? What is he going through? Because you know what that's like.
Well, I think what he's going through is they're doing the same thing they've always done under Stu, because that's what he was part of, and that's kind of what I've been a part of. So I think he's just trying to navigate through it and trying to navigate through doing the 24/7 basketball head coaching job, and that's not easy to navigate. But he's got a veteran team. He's got some guys back. So, and like I said, he's probably got one of the top 6 or 7 players in the league. So they're just trying to find their way, and it's going to be a tough game for us.
Jalen Moore, obviously being the guy that a lot of people know about, but Chris Smith has had a pretty good year for them. Chris Smith caused some problems for you guys?
I think he causes problems for anybody. He's a solid player, can shoot the ball. Both Perkins and him have been here. They've won here before, so yeah, they'll be Smith he'll be a tough cover for us, but I think Sam and X and those guys will be up to it.
Early on in conference play, it's kind of tough to make out a lot of who's good, who's going to struggle, that sort of stuff. What's your evaluation?
It's 2 games in. I just don't. I mean, we're just trying to. I'm going one day at a time. The year we won 30, we started 0-2 and won 14 straight. So I don't think you can take a lot of what happens after 2 games. But the only thing I'm concerned about is my team and how we're going to improve and how we're going to get better. I couldn't even tell you. I didn't watch one game last night. That's not my responsibility. My responsibility is to get my team better and get ready for Saturday.
What are your keys, Coach?
I just think we got to play better. I think we got to play. We got to be able to handle the ball, not turn it over. Be fundamentally sound with the ball. But then again, that's kind of catch-22 because I want them to play faster. I think we're going to have to score it inside. They don't have a shot blocker. They don't have a lot of size. They're like 6'7", 6'7". They come in with Elston Jones, a kid from Phoenix, who I think is a really good player, good prospect, has improved. He's a big kid, but I think we got to attack him inside and then just play our game. But we've got to improve what we're doing. Now, we've had to do some things, and we're going to try some different combinations and do some different things. So I've had to put some things in on the fly, which I think our guys are good with. But, my whole process is trying to get my guys better, and they got a lot of learning to do.
When you say you guys have to, when you say you have to score on the inside, are you talking like what balance are you talking? Tim and O scoring on the inside, and how much of the guards kind of getting inside?
Well, when I say inside, I think you have to have a low post game. So I think a lot of it will be Tim Williams, but a lot of it will be O. If I can get 16 and 10 or 16 and 11 out of those 2 guys, it's pretty good.
Coach, coming back from that Hawaii trip, you guys bounced back pretty good. And how do you see your guys now as far as their resilience? Are you glad to see that, and how will that serve you down the road?
I think the biggest thing with them was that was the first road game they've won in conference together. So I think that was something that they needed to do together. I don't count New Mexico State as that's just a rival game that it's totally different than in conference. So that was good for them to get their first conference road game win and, to kind of go through some adversity and go through what they went through and then come out 2-0 is good, but, we play Saturday and those games are in the past, so I'm just trying to get them to look forward.
Coach, assess Xavier's progression up till now.
Xavier's progression is because I'm playing him in a mismatched position so he's successful. So I think his last 2 games he's been really successful because I'm playing him in a mismatch position instead of just he has to play the guard. I think anytime we can go 4 guards, we cause problems, and we don't have problems guarding post players with Sam or X, and I think that's why I think X has been successful. I just have to get X on the floor, and however I can get that, I think if I can get him on the floor, he's going to be pretty successful. But he does what I ask him to do. He plays extremely hard. He's had 2 really good games, but I think the biggest thing is if I can get those 4 guards or any 4 combination of guards out there on the floor for a extended time, I think we're a little hard to match up with just because of the weapons we have.
Is there guys that just have a certain knack taking charges?
He does.
He seems to be one.
He's one. He's still not leading our team in charges, but that's what he does. He plays with energy. He's always done that. He wants to play. I called him in my office, and he never batted an eye about what I wanted to do. He said, "Yes, sir, whatever you want, I'll do whatever you want me to do." And that's what it's about, and that's why he's been successful. It's good karma.
You've talked about since you were hired, wanting to speed it up.
Right.
There were reasons why it just couldn't happen the first couple of years. Alex and Cam 1 year, last year, just didn't really have the bodies. But you are leading the league now in tempo, in possessions per game, at least in the conference games. And in fact, it's not really close to the next team right now. It's several possessions ahead of them.
And we're not playing as fast as I want to play.
So you want to go faster?
Well, I think it's fun to play that way. I just think it's fun basketball. Now I can't go as fast as I want to go because I don't want to have 30 turnovers, but I'm going as fast as my team will let me go right now. But I think we'll improve on that. But I think when you play that many tempo, what we don't understand about the whole thing, and I know Chip Kelly was fired and all that, but when he was at Oregon, when they had so many possessions, they didn't matter how many mistakes they made, they still had opportunities to score. I think with us having that many more possessions than the NCAA average and the league average, even though we have those turnovers, we have more chances to score either by getting on the line or scoring points by getting shots at the rim. Now, do we have more turnovers? Yeah, but there comes you kind of take it with what it is. Do I want 20? No. 15 would be nice. But I think the reason why we've been able to survive and win 2 games in our conference with 20 or more turnovers is that we're playing more possessions. And when you do that, I've always wanted to do that. I might be the first coach that's been here that's ever talked about possessions or talked about points per possessions. But it's basketball at the end. It's all just basketball, who's going to make plays, what player's going to make plays. But I think if you talk to your guys and everybody that you recruit, well, how do you want to play? Well, do you run? Do you play fast? Well, if I'm a recruit, I want to come here because we're playing fast and I want to play faster. But I'm also throwing the ball inside. It's not like we're not Loyola Marymount with Coach Westhead who coached me at Denver. But we're playing pretty fast.
With that said, then how much do you have to buy in? And this is sort of what Chip Kelly, you mentioned, he bought in, and like you said, we'll take the mistakes. We get that. We're buying in. We're doing this. So when do you adjust to another team? Because right now, the Mountain West, the 3 undefeated teams, you guys lead the league in tempo. San Diego State's undefeated, and they're dead last in tempo. And Boise State's also undefeated. They're right in the middle of 6th. So there's 3 different identities in terms of tempo that are undefeated in this league.
You're
right
2 games in, so I think we'll see who wins out.
Do you adjust your tempo to other people?
No, I'm not. I'm not going to adjust how we play. Jeff, you guys have watched me enough and been around me enough to know me. I'm pretty easy read. You know when I'm upset, when I'm not upset, when I'm happy. So I think the easiest read on me is that I'm going to play them our way, and that's just the way I know how to play. I don't think I can adjust. And what I mean by that is I've played more zone this year than we've ever played in 9 years. Is that a fair assessment? We played more zone than we ever, and our tempo is still where it is. So a lot of it is with the 30-second shot clock, what we talked about a lot. But also it is we're playing when we play really good defense and we're aggressive and we're long and we show our length. We play with energy and intensity. We can cause some problems on the defense. That allows us to get out and play to our strength. I think that's our strength. Now, do I think our strength is we have a great low post scorer? Yeah, I think he's terrific. But I think O's coming on too. But I think it's helped O because O doesn't have to get in a half-court grind-out game, so he's active and he's able to get offensive rebounds and score in transition or Cullen throwing him the lob.
And the byproduct being those turnovers that you mentioned, obviously they're going to be up. Is the difference between live ball turnovers and dead ball turnovers? Are you happy with how many turnovers are?
No, I'm not happy. I'm not happy. I mean, I got one guy that has 5 turnovers and 2 of them are charges. That's being aggressive to the rim. I've got another guy that, just has a couple of them, and we have, from an out of bounds standpoint. So, we have team turnovers that go against guys. So, we have some turnovers that we can correct. I think they just got to get used to playing the level that we're trying to play at.
But it kind of sounds like what you're saying, just to make sure I understand you. The turnover is like an acceptable.
It's not acceptable.
Just.
It's not acceptable, but I'm not gonna. I just don't think, and I've come a long way with this because I didn't believe this when I first got into coaching. I don't think you can take guys out for turnovers because then I think you take away their creativity. I think you take who they are. I think you eliminate what kind of player they can be with their potential. Now, in years past, if you watch this, that might have happened, but I've tried not to. People think that I take out my bench because they've made a mistake or they turned the ball over. It's not because I take a guy out for one reason, and that's because they're not paying attention, they're not doing the scheme, and they're not doing what we ask them to do as far as a game plan. That's the only time I take guys out, not because they missed a shot, not because they turned the ball over. It's because they're not in tune with the game plan and they're not on the same page as the 4 other guys. That's why they come out, not because they turned it over or they missed a shot. I don't think you can coach that way in this era.
So they're
When
talking
you
about
play that fast, when you play that fast, do you have an early offense that guys need to go to certain spots?
Yeah,
or-
they know that.
or
We've worked on that, yeah, and we're putting more and more in just because I think that we can. I think we can do some different things and take advantage of stuff, and we'll see how that works. But I got more in than I've ever had, even with my good teams. And we have a lot of things we're going to now. Do I tone it down for each game? Yeah, I tone it down for each game. But, it's like you have a package for each game because you want to go into the game with what you think can win against Utah State or what you can do against Fresno State or what you can do against Nevada. So the package shrinks, but the package on misses never shrinks. You want to play a certain way, and you put them in spots, and then you let them go. And they either make shots or they don't make the right plays, and all I can do is do what I know. And Steve and I always used to tease each other, just do what you do. And when you start doing stuff you can't do, or that's even for our players, when you start doing stuff that you're not really is your strength, then that's a problem.
Coach, what would be the ideal speed, like number of possessions, things like that?
I don't know. I think we're pretty good where we are. I think we were 62 last year, but the clock's changed, so that adds. But, 75 would be nice. But I don't know that. We could have had. I'm just guessing. I don't. What was the Fresno possessions? Do you know offhand?
75, 76.
Okay, so 75 in the Fresno game. Now, if you watch the game or watch the tape, the last 4 minutes, we went the clock all the way down to – our clock went all the way down to we almost shot clock violations the last 5 or 6 possessions that we had. So if you're playing, then you're going to have 4 or 5 more possessions where you could get to 75, 78 cents. But it depends on what happens the last 4 minutes of that game, that we were trying to control tempo, and we were up 15, 16, 18, 12. So we weren't in a hurry. Now, if it was a tight game or if we're trying to make plays, then that might be different.
When you talk to Cullen about, and I saw the quote, something along the lines of, I want Cullen to be, Cullen.
Mm-hmm.
What's that conversation like?
I think the conversation is more if you're okay or what's going on, or I just kind of try to be dad sometimes, and being coach isn't always the good thing. So dad kind of wants to know what he's feeling, but I mean, he plays better when he doesn't worry about a lot. He doesn't have a lot on his plate right now. He's back to being who he is, and I just want him to have fun. And you've known him and watched him. My biggest thing is if he's not having fun, he's not near the players he can be. And I think he's got to play and quit worrying about things.
I asked that because you're talking about you're going to play the way we play.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched, and I think Cullen is kind of the guy that is going to be the spark of how you're going to play.
Right.
If he's a little out of control and he's trying to do a little too much, your team's not going to be playing the way you want them to play. Is that
Right. But I've kind of reined him back a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Not reined him back on his emotions or how he plays or his energy or any of that. I think I've reined him back on, hey, if you watch the Fresno State game and you see him go off ball screen and you see him take 2 dribbles and throw it back to Tim Williams like 3 or 4 times, a week ago he would have tried to make a play against 1-on-2. Now, I have that problems with another one of my guards and 2 of my guards I have that problem with that haven't figured that out yet, but he's such cerebral that he's figured it out. Like, I can tell him this is what I'm talking about, and I can show it to him on film, and the next game he's going to make that play. And he'll make that play just because he knows the game. But he'll make that play because it's helping our team. Sometimes I think when he hasn't played like he didn't play last year, when he came in here, he thought he could just go on, one on whoever, 9. But I think he's figuring out to make basketball plays, and he can still make plays. I mean, the old Cullen, the high school Cullen or the freshman Cullen, he had 20 in the first half. He would have tried to get 50.
Yeah.
In that game, he played the game, and they tried to take him out of it in the second half, and he didn't force anything. He did what we were supposed to do, and we won the game. Well, if he can continue to do that and do how he can play, then we're going to be pretty good.
Is it easier to try and dial the guy back than it is to try and get a player to be more aggressive?
I don't think I can ever dial him back. I think I can help him mature and learn, and I think he's done that.
How much easier has it become, father and son coaching since you've been doing it now?
I don't think it's ever easy. You're dealing with a lot of different variables. You're dealing with your team, 16 other kids, coaching staff, son, player. So I think it's a lot easier just because we're in a good place, and I understand, and he knows what I'm trying to do. So I think you're in a better place. It's a lot easier sitting there where he sat last year and watching and going through what he went through and watching our team and watch what you had to go through. It's a lot easier to coach him and talk to him about the game, just seeing it from our eyes and seeing what we were talking about, than a player's eyes.
Coach, do you think that Cullen's more relaxed? It seems like he's more relaxed when he's out of town than having to deal with all this stuff that goes on in the pit.
Well, he doesn't have to deal with it anymore because, he's not letting any of that affect him. He's off everything, and he doesn't. It's all about that team in that locker room, and that's it. And we'll find out, but I thought he played really well the Nevada game. I thought he played really good the Fresno game, and hopefully he'll play good the rest of the year. But I don't think I think he's doing exactly what I asked my whole team to do. Don't listen to the noise outside, good or bad. And all that matters is about the noise that I'm yelling at you or screaming at you or trying to coach you, and the noise in the locker room with your teammates. And if you can do that, then we're going to be pretty good. But I don't think that stuff's bothering him anymore. He's too tough a kid, and now he's an emotional kid because he cares about what people think, but I think he's over that now.
What about your rotation too? You're halfway through. Are you okay with, sounds like you're happy with guys playing 32 to 35 minutes if they don't make any mistakes?
Not happy. I think I had to play Cullen 35 because he had to play all 20 in the first half just because Elijah was out. When Elijah's out for 15 minutes, I got to play him. So that's the longest I've set him out in the second half. I set him out almost 6 minutes. I don't even think those minutes were right. I think if you watch the tape, I think I set him out for 6.5 minutes, and they said he played 35. So, no, I'm going to play some of those guys. I think you'll see Anthony Mathis. I think you'll see Dane. I keep saying that, but I think you'll see those guys. But I don't want to play him that many minutes. I'm in a little lull with, I give one of those guys a shot. Jordan gives a shot. If he doesn't play well, then I let Tim Jacobs have a shot. I think that's just what I have to do. I think that's only fair. Not one of those guys. I know that we think Jordan Hunter had a breakout game because he scored 2 buckets. But, if he goes in there and plays well, I play him. If he goes in there and plays bad, then I have Tim Jacobs play because I think they're equal. I think Jordan can give you more offensively, but I think Timmy Jacobs gives you more experience and a guy that can calm you down and run your offense. So that's the only one that I'm kind of – now I'll play X a lot more at the 4, and if Joe plays well, then Joe will play. If I get in a situation where I'm playing a team that doesn't have a lot of low post guys like the team I'm playing Saturday, then I could play X a lot more at that spot with Tim Williams or with O. But if Joe plays well, Joe's going to play. So, I've only got, to be honest with you, I only have 3 post players now with O and Tim and Joe, so they're going to play, but I can see us go a lot of 4 guards, and then if that happens, then I can see Dane getting some minutes, Anthony Mathis getting some minutes.
Craig, when you look at the opponents, do you kind of game plan as to, Elijah can take advantage of this, Cullen can take advantage of that?
Yeah, I think that's what you always do. I think you always try to find out what offense or how you can attack them to score the easiest. And we do that for every game. Coach Harriman does the defense, and we do all the scouts together, and then we say, all right, this is the way we're going to guard him, this is the way we're going to play him, then he's in charge of that. And then I do all the offense, and I just study on how we're going to score, and I do that with the scout guy. Now, it's a little different. It's me on the fly today because it's Huss's scout, and he's sick, so I had to learn all of it in, 3 hours. So we'll see if I'm any good for my NBA days.
So is it somewhat of a luxury to know that you have 2 guards that can score the ball the way they can?
I think it's a luxury to any program to have the 2 guards that I have. I wouldn't trade them for anybody, and I mean that. Now, do they have their deficiencies? Yeah. Do they have weaknesses that they have to work on? Yeah. Do they have strengths that are hard to teach? Yeah. So I'll take my guard. I like my guards, and I've always been confident that they were going to be really, really good before this season even started. So I think they've exceeded my expectations, and hopefully they're going to get better.